And now we jump to the next news video as as I said, we will focus on AEW Collision, and this is pretty much going to be just an AEW update. This is just going to be an AEW update, as there's a lot to talk about from Dynamite on Wednesday, and now that I'm doing it on Friday instead of Thursday, there's no need for a spoiler warning. But we're going to start with Forbidden Door, and then we'll build to Dynamite. As Forbidden Door, there is an open challenge out. Sonata challenged, issued an open challenge for anybody to step up to fight him for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And before we go into who accepted the challenge, I just want to say, in seeing him on video, because Sonata was not there personally or actively, but in seeing the video, Sonata looked like a world champion in the video when he issued the open challenge. So props to New Japan for the presentation. Props to New Japan for the presentation, and props to AEW for the presentation as well. You know, it's not often when people outside of WWE are presented like a champion, even when they're not in the title picture, like even when they're not defending the title. But Sonata, in a video package or a video via satellite, that's the word, coming in via satellite, Sonata still looked like a champion. He carried himself like one. He was dressed like one. Props to them for the presentation. I just had to put that out there. But Jungle Boy Jack Perry is getting the opportunity to challenge for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at Forbidden Door. It is it's kind of surprising. It's kind of surprising that Jack Perry was the one to step up and take the challenge, but it should be a good match at Forbidden Door between Jack Perry and Sonata. Speaking of the other match, Hiroshi Tanahashi came in via satellite. Hiroshi Tanahashi called in, I guess you would say, or appeared on screen to issue a challenge for the AEW World Heavyweight title that he came very close to winning last year from Jon Moxley. And he issued a challenge, Tanahashi did, to MJF. So at this point, it is not made official. The IWGP Heavyweight title match was made official, but Tanahashi versus MJF is not official just yet. So it is possible and very likely that MJF's challenger will be the original ace of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman at Forbidden Door for the AEW World Heavyweight title. And another match that is up in the air for the event is, or rumored for the event, is Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy. I'm guessing it would be for the International Championship and not the New Japan World Television title. But I would say it could be for either one, or maybe it could be for both. That would be, honestly, I think I would like it better if it was for both rather than just one. But that's just me. But that's just me. Either way, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy, sign me up. Another solid match potentially set for Forbidden Door next weekend, which again, with Forbidden Door next weekend, we will be doing the normal previews and predictions for the pay-per-view as the event draws closer. And now we shift over as two new people have joined the backstage for AEW. One of them is still undeclared as far as his position, and that is Kevin Matthews. Kevin Matthews is a promoter owning WrestlePro and another company that his name is escaping me, but Kevin Matthews worked in Impact Wrestling as an active wrestler for a time. I believe it was during the time when Impact was looking for an identity still. from what I remember. And Kevin Matthews' official title in AEW is still undeclared, but it is very likely that he will be a producer of some kind within the company because, or help with creative, or produce, or something of that ilk, because the company is trying to expand that aspect of their roster with the infusion of Collision tomorrow night. The other person is officially on AEW Creative and producing duty and has producing duties, and that is Jimmy Jacobs, who is formerly a part of WWE and has worked with Impact Wrestling since his time with WWE came to a close back in 2017. He immediately caught on with Impact soon after leaving WWE, or getting let go, I should say, because he didn't leave. But Jimmy Jacobs was one of the main cogs in the Kevin Owens-Chris Jericho rivalry, the Celebration of Friendship, or the Festival of Friendship, I should say, and also the main culprits of the List of Jericho back when Chris Jericho was doing a list during his last WWE run. So Jimmy Jacobs is very well respected within the realm of creative in professional wrestling, and a welcomed addition to the AEW creative team. Also, speaking of a welcomed addition to the AEW team, on AEW Collision, it has been made official that both Miro and Andrade will be in action on the debut edition of Collision, which both men, in my opinion, are welcome sights to see returning, as Andrade's been nursing an injury and Miro's just been nursing, I guess, looking for the right creative to come back. Miro will likely at this point be in action against a local talent or a enhancement match of some kind, and Andrade will be in action against Buddy Matthews, as that should be another match on Collision that will tear the house down tomorrow night on the debut edition of AEW's new programming. But it will be a welcome sight to see Andrade and Miro back on AEW programming. Speaking of a welcome sight to see someone return, we'll get to that in a second, but Battle of the Belts, we got an update on Battle of the Belts from AEW's top brass, Mr. Tony Khan, and he said Battle of the Belts is not gone. Battle of the Belts is not gone. It's just finding the right day to tape and put Battle of the Belts back in the forefront, as right now, Battle of the Belts is something on the back burner due to the advent of AEW Collision. And I think basically from what I grasped from the Tony Khan interview is that Tony is going to wait with Battle of the Belts. It's not gone, but they're not going to push Battle of the Belts at this point with the idea that Collision takes precedent over that. And now we move to the last bit of news, and the last bit of news is during a back-and-forth brawl to end Dynamite on Wednesday between the Elite and the BCC and Konosuke Takeshita, the Elite was joined by the returning Eddie Kingston, who is back from hernia surgery and went right after Claudio Castagnoli. Eddie Kingston Eddie Kingston quit AEW a few months ago and went to Ring of Honor. We thought he was going to have a back-and-forth rivalry with Claudio, but a hernia surgery took him off the road for a couple months, and now it seems like he's back, siding with the Elite against Takeshita and the BCC. But also, the show didn't end with Eddie Kingston coming back. The show ended with Will Ospreay returning to AEW and dropping Kenny Omega to end the show, promoting what should be one of the top matches and a match that could steal the show at Forbidden Door next weekend. But again, we'll break that down as Forbidden Door gets closer. And also, it is Friday, so you know what that means. I didn't forget about Rampage. We'll get to that as well. With that being said, though, that is it for me with the news, and I will see you in the next one.